can see a lot about a person when they're going through the dark times in life. You can see their faith. It's almost like you put a magnifying glass on your faith. I have to preach before I begin. You may be going through a dark time right now, or it may be coming up in the future. If you're going through it now, try to consider it that way, that God's putting a magnifying glass over your faith so that you can shine to the people around you. They're watching you. And I promise, even though you may not believe you're being a witness, you are being a witness. I have to preach, as I said before I even get into this song. Everybody listening to me, you're a witness every day, even when you're not trying. Y'all realize that? You're either being a witness for the Lord, or you're being a witness against the Lord. So remember that. God wants to use you. Psalm number 3. We're going to look at verses 5 through 8 today. Psalm number 3, verses 5 through 8. I'm going to read the song. It's only 8 verses. It'll remind you of what we looked at the last time we were together. Psalm number 3. Let's look at verse 1 together. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. But thou, Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. Verse 4. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill. I laid me down and slept, and I awaked, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God. For thou hast smitten all mine enemies. Upon the cheekbone thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thy blessings is upon thy people. This psalm speaks about 2 things that we want. Number 1 is deliverance. Who in here wants to be delivered out of their problems? We all do. And we want prosperity. We want blessings. And this psalm says, if you'll look down to that verse 8, the very last verse, salvation belongeth unto the Lord, and thy blessings are upon thy people. If you want lasting victory and lasting prosperity, are y'all listening? It only comes from the Lord. You may gain little worldly victories, but lasting victory and lasting blessings only come from the Lord. It belongs to Him. David was going through a very dark time, which we all will face in life. If you'll look, probably in your Bible, you have a little thing right before verse 1. It says, the Psalm of David when he fled from Absalom, his son. Not to get into the whole thing about what was going on, but remember, his son had taken over the kingdom. He had basically stolen the kingship away from David. And he and all of Israel, it seemed, was seeking David to kill him. So I would say this was a very dark time that David was in his life. We can see a lot about David as a person through this psalm and how he reacted to this hardship, but I believe we can also see how we should react when we go through those terrible times in our life. Look at verse 5. I love this verse. I laid me down and slept. I awaked. What's the word for me? Because the Lord sustained me. The word sustain there means a support or a brace. David realized that he slept and woke up. Why? Because God allowed it. Now, it was a little different with him. David, again, there were people trying to kill him. And David could have been up all night long worrying, but he didn't. What did he do? He went to sleep. Do you ever just thank God when you wake up in the morning? I mean, you think about the things we take for granted. God sustained me through the night and woke me up. We don't have people trying to kill us most days, thank the Lord. We're not worried most days that somebody's going to break in our home and kill us like David was. But we have a lot to be thankful for just by waking up in the morning. God's given us another day. God sustained us through the night. And when you wake up in the morning, you should have this thought, God has a purpose for me because He left me here today. Amen. Oh, but I see the faith of David. David realized that God had delivered him through the night, that God had protected him through the night. Psalm number 4, if you'll look over to Psalm number 4 and look down to verse 8. Again, this is David speaking. He said, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me to dwell in safety. You know, we've got an alarm system on our house, and we've got 2 or 3 locks on each door. How many of y'all are like that? I know there was a time when we didn't even lock our doors in this country, and now it seems like we're scared. But you know, those alarm systems and locks, that's really not what makes us safe. It's God that makes us safe. Amen. Do you ever just thank God for getting you through the night? You're here today because God sustained you. He gave you the health to be here. He gave you the safety to be here. Another writer spoke of it this way, that God has put a hedge of protection around us. I can't tell you in my life the times that I've seen God working and God's protection working on us. I think I shared with you that we took our Suburban to church camp. And y'all remember the Suburban was the one that the transmission went out in just before church camp. Got that fixed. Went to church camp, had a wonderful time, came back home. That very day that we came home, Pam had a meeting in Pine Bluff. She took that same Suburban and it broke down on her on the way to this meeting. And, you know, we were talking about a lot of people would be upset, my car broke down again. But you know what the first thing we thought about? Thank the Lord that it didn't break down on the way back from church camp with the kids in that car, 100 degrees outside on the side of the highway. I believe God was protecting us. Say what you will, I believe God's protection was on us. Just like the Bible says, these things belong to the Lord. Safety belongs to the Lord. You can do all kinds of things to try to keep yourself safe, but guess what? Safety belongs to the Lord. If you're safe today, it is because of the Lord. David didn't know. I want y'all to turn to 1 Samuel or 2 Samuel. David truly didn't know if he was going to wake up the next morning. That's how bad things had gotten. He literally had people that close that wanted to kill him. He didn't know if he was going to make it. Sometimes when I read the Bible, and I'm sure you do this too, you see these people that do great acts of faith, Daniel in the lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace, and you think, well, they talked with God every day, so they knew that God was going to deliver them. No, they didn't. They were just like us. One of my favorite parts of the Bible is when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, God has the power to deliver us, but even if He don't, we're going to continue to obey God. They didn't know. They were walking into the fiery furnace not knowing if God was going to deliver them or not. You say, well, what's the big deal, Brother Chris? We walk into our problems not knowing if God's going to deliver us from them. We know sometimes there's a purpose for those troubles on earth. So we don't know. So it's wonderful when we look at these biblical people who didn't know what was going to happen. David didn't know if he was going to be killed or be restored to the kingdom. And I want to show you 2 Samuel chapter 15. 2 Samuel chapter 15. And look down to verse 13. 2 Samuel 15 and verse 13. 2 Samuel 15 verse 13. And there came a messenger to David, saying, the hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom. Well, that'd be a good message to get, with it? In other words, everybody is supporting your son now. So not only is Absalom trying to kill you, now everybody in Israel is out to kill you. Verse 14. And David said unto all of the servants that were with him in Jerusalem, arise, let us flee. For because we shall not else escape from Absalom, make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly, and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword. Verse 15. And the king's servants said unto the king, behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint. So here you see David saying, we got to get up and go, because Absalom's going to get us. Look down to verse 25 in the same chapter, verse 25. And the king said unto Zadok. Everybody with me? Verse 25. Carry back the ark of God unto the city. If, y'all reading this with me? If I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. Verse 26, but if he thus say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here I am. Let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. That was David's heart. David didn't know what was about to happen. And by the way, I'm about to give you something very profound. If you want peace in your heart, this is the first step, is to realize your life is not in your hands. Quit worrying about it. It's in God's hands. How many warriors do we have in here? Be honest. Your preacher's one. Ooh, I'm one. I was about to say, if I didn't say it, my family would say it. I'm trying to work on it because worrying the way I do sometimes is a sin. It's a lack of faith. It really is. Things are in God's hands. And I want y'all to see, David didn't know what was going to happen. What he just said there, he said, send the ark back. Now, the Ark of the Covenant was very special to David. Y'all know that. He said, send the ark back. If I find favor with God, I'm going to get to see it again. But if not, let God do to me as he sees fit. I'm paraphrasing. But that was David's heart. Now that takes a lot of faith. And I'm talking about even in the little things in life. Brother Chris, are you talking about when your family leaves in a car and you pray for them? Yep, even the little things in life. A preacher friend of ours from Pine Bluff, I guess it's about 6 Thanksgivings ago now. It was his mother and his sister and his aunt. They had Thanksgiving together, and they told them bye in the car, and they left in the car, and y'all already know what's going to happen. They had a car wreck, and all of them died. Leaving that. We don't know what's going to happen. We're just like David. We don't know, right? I want y'all to see that these biblical people didn't know either. Our life is in God's hands. You can strive all day long to try to make your life a victory or make your life a safe, but I want you to understand all of that belongs to God. It really does. And David had some faith here. Do y'all mind, as you're turn over in the New Testament, the book of James? And I want to ask y'all, how much in your everyday life do you think about God and God's will for your life? All of us in the morning are probably going to wake up. We may already have our day planned out for us. But we're all going to get up and think, well, this is what I got to do. I got to, whether it's go to work or I got to go to town and do this, got to go. We say all these things that we're going to do. I want to ask you, how much is God's will in your mind through the week? And I want to show you here what God says that we should be thinking. Some of y'all already know where I'm going. James chapter 4. James chapter 4. How much do you think of God's will? Can y'all agree with me that David was thinking about God's will? He didn't know what it was, but he was thinking about God's will, and he knew God was in control. And he said, whatever God wants for me. If y'all want to find peace, you better get this in your life, okay? If you don't think God's in control, you know what you're going to do? You're going to worry yourself to death. You're going to be like that washing machine when it gets... anybody ever thrown shoes in a washing machine or had a washing machine get out of balance? Sometimes that's what's going on in my body. Amen? Y'all ever been agitated like that?
Yep.
You just running around trying to do this and fix that and fix that. For James chapter 4. You know the Bible says don't be anxious, right? James chapter 4, verse 13. Everybody with me? James 4, verse 13. Go to now, ye that say. That's a very hard phrase to understand, but basically that means listen up, you people who say this. Okay? Listen up, you people who say this. Well, who say what? Today or tomorrow, we're going to go into such a city, continue there a year, and buy and sell and kick in. We all say things like that, don't we? This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. This is my plan for this year. This is what I'm going to do. Listen to what God says. He says, listen up, you guys who talk like this. Verse 14. Whereas you know not what should be on tomorrow. How many of you got plans for tomorrow already? Well, those that work, I know have plans, right?
Yeah.
Stay home, that's it.
That's a plan. I have a plan. Hopefully I'll be rested. That's a plan.
I said, I'm not going to watch the neighbors. They come over and see me.
There you go. That's a plan. Most of us in here already have plans for tomorrow. Listen to what the Bible says. So he's talking to us, right? You don't know what shall be on tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. In other words, you may not even be here tomorrow. Did I know one Sunday night after Dad left the parking lot that that was the last I was going to see? No? Was what, it a Monday? Yeah. That's the time. Yeah. Did that preacher know when he kissed his family bye and they got in the car and left that he wasn't going to see them anymore? We don't know what's going to be tomorrow. So what's the point? Look at verse 15. For you ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. Now, is that what David did? Don't get me wrong, David's not sitting under a rock saying, well, I hope Absalom don't kill me. But he knew it was in God's hands, didn't he? And we're going to see in the psalm that he wasn't agitated like your preacher gets sometimes. Right here, James says, you ought to say, if the Lord will. You mean I ought to say, if the Lord will? Have y'all heard people talk, and I try to be that way sometimes. No matter what they say, they end it with, if the Lord will. We've changed it a little bit, if the Lord will, and the preach don't write it down. And my comeback is, it don't matter if the preacher writes or not, if the Lord will, it's going to happen. Why did people start talking like that? Because of this scripture. You ought to say, if the Lord will. It should be in your mind. If the Lord will, this is what I'm going to do. If the Lord allows me, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. Do you believe the Lord takes that much interest in your life, in my life? Absolutely. Now look at verse 16 there in James, last verse we'll look at there. But now you rejoice in your boastings, and all such rejoicing is evil. In other words, you're boasting about what you're going to do tomorrow, and he says that's sin. Without considering God, that's a sin. You know, I didn't know that for a long time. Me just thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow, without thinking about God, yes. Because God's in control, y'all. We're not in control. Now, let's be honest. How many of us try to be in control of our own life? And we fight to be in control of our own life sometimes, don't we? Sometimes we even fight against God to be in control of our own life. We fight against conviction. You know, the Bible says many are the devices of man. But what happens is what God wills. God's in control, no matter how hard you fight. Go back to our text and Psalm. The book of Lamentations, Jeremiah said this, who can speak and have it happen if the Lord has not decreed it? Well, I'm going to get up and I'm going to get this accomplished. Not if the Lord doesn't will it. You know, I know it's a little different for me, but last Sunday I got up and it was my plan and it was my effort to be at church. And I tried, y'all. And it broke my heart last week. It was even worse than normal. So I had a plan. I had my suit laid out. Had my shoes there with my socks stuck in it. Y'all do that? Y'all exercise that? I have to match my tie. And Pam hates it because I go in there. Come look with me with my shirts and ties. See if this looks good. And I'll get like 6 out. Which looks better? She hates it. So like, oh, they all look good. But I had everything out. I was ready to go. But guess what? I didn't make it. You said, Brother Chris, do you think it was God's will for me not to be here? Yeah, for some reason. Y'all had to listen to old bald-headed Scott last week. It was God's will.
Oh.
Amen? And I bet y'all received a blessing. It was God's will. I love Scott. I can call him. If you don't love him, you can't call him. God's will. How much do you think about God's will? Yeah, it'll take a lot of stress off of you and anxiety off of you if you'll think about it that way. Go back to our text. David acknowledged that I got through the night because God sustained me. Now look at verse 6. Once you truly believe that, okay, no matter what you're facing, it's going to change your outlook. Verse 6. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people. Now wait a minute. David really had 10,000s of people that wanted to kill him. Right? This is not an exaggeration. He says, I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. In other words, I'm surrounded, and he was. But he says, I'm not going to be afraid. I love this. The word afraid here means to stand in fear or a continual fear. It's not a sin to have fear. It's not a sin to have worry. It's a sin to stay in that. Amen? To let it consume you. David said, I'm not going to stand in fear. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I've got a neat book. Y'all might want to read it if you ever see it, or I'll let you borrow it. It's written by a shepherd, and it's a shepherd's perspective on the 23rd Psalm. It's a shepherd writing about all the symbolism in the 23rd Psalm. And that, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, there are places over there in Israel that to get from one field to another, they have to walk through these narrow canyons. That there are a lot of places for predators to hide. And that's normally what they do. They funnel all those sheep down in this little bitty path, and there's rocks and bushes and all this on the side. It's dark, and all a wolf or a cat or anything has to do is just reach out and grab it. So that's the idea. Yea, I'm walking through this valley. There's predators all around me, and I can't see them. But I'm going to fear no evil. Now, do you remember why he's going to fear no evil? The word for means because. For thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. In other words, God's the shepherd. He's out front. You're the one that's protecting me. Do you believe that God is your shepherd protecting you? Isn't it deep? When you think about that in your life. I'm just a little sheep. And God's with me all the time with that big shepherd hook. And he's going to beat off any wolf that comes. Isn't that great? Man, why do I worry so much? Why am I so fearful? David said, I will not be afraid. I will not. Can y'all hear this in David's voice? It's he's not just telling you what he's not going to do. He's making a commitment to himself. I'm not going to be afraid. Have you ever said that to yourself? I'm just not going to worry about this. By the way, worry and fear is a decision you make. Did you know that? It really is a decision. The emotion hits you, and then you have to decide, am I going to dwell on this? Me and Mom was talking the other day, there's days that she says, and I agree with it, there's days that are harder in dealing with the loss of Dad than others. Now, why is that? Why isn't it the same every day? Well, there's some days that there's things that trigger certain memories. And it's the same way in that sense. Am I going to dwell on the negative? Or am I going to dwell on God's blessings and God's promises? Worry, fear, depression, all those things, it's a choice. David says, I'm not going to be afraid. Y'all say that with me. I'm not going to be afraid. Does God give us the ability to not be afraid? If you are God's child, absolutely. He doesn't want you huddled up in the corner afraid. We have the King as a shepherd by us every day. Why would we be afraid? I will not The book of Psalms, chapter 46, y'all don't have to turn there, I'll read it to you. God is our refuge and our strength, and ever-present help in the day of trouble. He's always here. Therefore we will not fear. Listen to these words. We will not fear, even though the earth give way, and the mountains fall to the heart of the sea, though the waters roar and foam, the mountains quake with their surging, we shall not be afraid. And then it ends with that word, Selah. You don't know what Selah means? Stop. Think about what I just said. You know, there are things that happen in our life truly that scare us. I understand that. There's things that scare me, that bother me, that worry me. I've done confessed I'm a worrier. But we have the ability, through God's Spirit and God's promises, to say, I'm not going to dwell on this fear. I'm not going to let it bother me. Brother Chris, do you really think it's that easy? You know, it's a lot easier to say than do. But yes, ultimately, it is that simple. I've learned I got to keep saying it. It's not just a one-time thing saying I'm not going to worry. Every time that worry or every time that fear comes back in your mind, you say it again. I'm not going to be afraid. You give it to God. He is my shepherd. He's here with me. Whatever the Lord wills, that's what's going to happen anyway. Do you believe that we have an all-powerful, all-knowing God that is in total control? He's all-powerful. He's all-loving. And He's in control of your life. Do you believe that? Amen. If so, that really takes a lot of the worry out, right? Because even when troubles come, they come because of His love, right? No, come on. Do you remember what Paul said sitting in prison? Paul said sitting in prison that what was happening to him was happening for the good. He said the gospel's being spread more because I'm sitting in prison. He understood that the problems that he was going through, there was a purpose. God had a purpose. God, the loving God, had a purpose for him. Now, do you believe that old verse in Romans 8:28 that says, "For we know that all things work together for the good, those that love God are called according to His purpose"? Do you really believe that when times get tough? Takes a lot of faith sometimes. But do you believe? If you believe in an all-loving, all-powerful God that's in control, you do believe that. David believed it. You know, I can't imagine what was going on in David's mind. He probably had a lot of sinful thoughts battling these as well. But you see that power. I'm not going to be afraid. The book of 2 Corinthians says this. All of this is for your benefit. Paul talking to the church of Corinth, all the troubles that the church of Corinth was going through. He said, all of this is for your benefit. Did the early churches suffer any kind of troubles? You know, God used, and we can see this from afar, God used that trouble to take one church and make thousands of churches out of it, right? It spread, the persecution made it spread. We can see that, but how would you have liked to have been going through it? How many of us would have still been sitting in Jerusalem going, God fix the problems, God fix the problems. Why isn't God fixing the problems? Because sometimes God wants us to do something different. Amen. God has something different for your life. Again, folks, sometimes I think we try to take control away from God. We want our life to go the way we want it to go. Be careful. Remember that God is in control. Paul said, all this is for your benefit, so that the grace that is reaching more and more people may cause thanksgiving to overflow with the glory of God. Therefore, we do not lose heart. In other words, even though things are going bad, we don't give up. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we're being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. You'll say amen if you believe it. In other words, God's not only working in this life, but even in the life to come, and using the things that we are going through. I want to challenge you right now to think back in your life at some of the bad times in your life. Can you see any of those? You don't have to do it with all of them right now. can you see some of the troubles in your life that God used that for the good? Just look back in your own mind at some of the troubles you've gone through. Can you pick out at least one of them where you know God used that for the good? You know, we can't always see it, can we? I can't always see why God does something. You know, I have a lot of people as a preacher that come to me and say, Brother Chris, why is this happening? And I wished I had the wisdom every time to go, this is the exact reason. Sometimes we don't know. But yet sometimes we can look and we can see a lot of reasons why. Can you do that? Isn't that wonderful to be able to look back and go, okay, I can see. If you can see it in one case, then have faith that God is doing it every time. Amen? Oh, that'll give you some wonderful strength. Look back at our text, there in verse 6. He says, I will not be afraid of the 10,000 people that have set themselves against me. The word set against there, the idea they've set their heart. They've set their heart against David. I want to tell y'all something. I hate to tell y'all this, but if you look around right now, you'll know it. If you are God's child and you want to live for God, there's going to be people that set themselves against you. I hate to tell you, if you start living for God today, you're not going to get healthier and wealthier and wiser. It's probably going to get tougher for you. The Bible says that. Right? Do y'all mind looking back to Psalm 2? It should be probably on the same page there with Psalm 3. And look at verse 1 and 2. Psalm 2, verse 1 and 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against who? The Lord. Against the Lord and His anointed, being Jesus. In other words, the world sets themselves against God. Well, if we are God's children, guess what? They're setting themselves against God. There's going to be people setting themselves against us. I won't get into a political soapbox here. But if you cannot see the world, and I'm talking about even in our country, people setting themselves against God's people and people that stand up for God's ways, then you're not looking very much. Amen. Guys, do you know it's even going to happen in your own family? If you start living for God, if you start living more for God today, you're going to even have trouble in your family because of it. Did y'all know that? Do y'all mind turning one other place? I want y'all to see this because this is Jesus' word. Matthew. Turn to the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10. Brother Chris, you're telling me about all this trouble. How in the world am I supposed to? I thought this sermon was about victory and prosperity. We're talking about trouble. Matthew chapter 10, look down at verse 34. These are powerful. If you don't have these underlined or written down somewhere, you need to. This is Jesus speaking, okay? Matthew 10, down to verse 34. Catch up with me if you're not there yet. Think not that I am come to send peace on the earth. I am come not to send peace, but a sword. What? But He's the Prince of Peace. He came preaching love. Do you see the world loving the Christian today? How much love is the Christian getting today in the world? Well, we're getting our heads chopped off in the Middle East. And I truly believe this. If the liberals in our country had the ability, they'd cut off our heads here in this country. That's how much they hate us. And it's going to get worse. Jesus said, I did not come to bring peace. Look at this. I came to bring a sword. Look at verse 35. For, or because, I am come to set a man at variance, that means making an enemy of, against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Verse 36, and a man's foes shall be they of his own household. If you start standing up for God and living for God, which means you're going to be a witness for God, I promise you're going to have trouble even in your own family. Because your views and your lifestyle is going to contradict what the world thinks and what the world's doing. And you're going to have problems. I'm telling you this so that you realize it. You know, Peter said, don't think it's strange concerning what you're going through. It's kind of hard to have joy when you don't expect these problems to happen and all of a sudden they happen. I believe there's a lot of Christians today going, why is this happening, God? I was living for you. Because they're expecting things to get better instead of things to get harder. You say, Brother Chris, then what's the answer? Y'all know these verses, but let's keep looking there in Matthew. Look what it says. Verse 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me, this is Jesus speaking, is not worthy of me. In other words, if you choose the family member that's coming against you because of you following God, and you choose them over God, have you done good? Look what it says. They are not worthy of me. He that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Look what it says in verse 38. He that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. Y'all heard me explain this a bunch of times. What does it mean, taking up your cross? It means, you know, the cross was the place where you went to die, right? Some people use this and say, well, that's the burdens I have to carry. No, that's not what it's saying. You know, remember I started this sermon by saying a lot of us, we want to be in control of our life instead of God. Jesus is telling you need to have that attitude die. Give your life to God. Willingly give your life, just like Jesus did on the cross to God. So every day you're not thinking, this is what I want to do. You're thinking, what's the Lord's will? There's a difference, amen? Look what it says. This is so wonderful. He that taketh not up his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it. In other words, if you go seeking after what you want, y'all please listen, especially younger people. And younger, I mean anybody my age or younger than right here, God is giving you a promise. If you find your life, you're going to lose it. In other words, if you go out in this life striving for what you want and what you can accomplish, He said you're going to lose the very purpose that He put you here on this earth. You may accomplish great worldly things. You may even be the next president of the United States. You couldn't do any worse. But God says you're going to lose the very purpose I created you for. But look at the next phrase. This is so wonderful. But the one that loses his life for my sake. In other words, you say, okay, I'm going to start thinking what God wills in my life. Look what He says. You shall what? Find it. There is nothing that will give you more peace in life than finding the purpose you were created for. Today, and y'all know I like Elvis, today is the anniversary of his death. August 16, 1977 was the day he died. Elvis was somebody in the music business anyway that accomplished something nobody else had and probably nobody else ever would. But yet he was miserable. Y'all realize that? He was miserable. He was wealthy. There was a time he was the wealthiest person in the United States. He had popularity. Anything humanly that we think we want, he had. But he was miserable. Why? I believe because he lost the purpose that God created him. Guys, if you want peace, you better go after what your Creator put you here for instead of what you think. Let's go back to our text. Verse 7. David now prays to God. Guys, it's not wrong to pray and ask God for what you want, but you better start by acknowledging God's will. I want you to notice David didn't start off by saying, God saved him. He started off by saying, whatever God's will is. Verse 7, Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God. For thou hast smitten all thine enemies upon the cheekbone, thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Again, it is not wrong to pray for what you want. He's asking God to stand up and fight for him. God, stand up and fight for him. Now, David had a few things that we don't have. David had God's promise that he was going to be king. Many times we don't know the purpose that God has for our life. But I want you to realize that God does want you to make your request known. We can look at that scripture, but I'm not going to take the time. God wants you to be able to tell him what you want. That's fine. But let me ask you, I'll be honest with you. Are you willing to be at peace if you don't get what you want? That's the question. Remember, David said, I may get to go back and see the ark, I may not. David's will was to go back and see the ark. David's will was to live, but he was at peace either way. Can you be at peace if you don't get what you want? And sometimes that's some not little things. I would rather my dad be here with us today. I'm sure you'd rather loved ones be here with you today. If a loved one gets sick, I bet you make a request, God, bring him here. So now do you see what I'm asking? But can you be at peace even if you don't do what you want? Y'all will know these verses in Philippians where it says, be not anxious for anything, but by everything. Come on, y'all can kind of quote those verses to me. Y'all know what it says? By prayer and supplication, make your requests known unto God. You want peace, you want to get rid of that anxiety, you better give it to God. Tell him what you want, but be at peace with whatever he gives. Now look at verse 8. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord, thy blessings upon thy people. And it ends with Selah, which means stop. This was a major point. Think about it. This is how I began. And I want to end with this. I want y'all to see this. If you're going to have true victory in your life, if you're going to have true success in your life, and what I mean by true, I mean lasting. I just mentioned Elvis. Did Elvis have success? Yeah, but did it really do anything for him? He was miserable. If you want true success, true victory, true prosperity, that belongs to the Lord. If you want that, you're going to have to seek it from God and by God's way. Isn't that simple? Guys, I believe God wants to bless every person sitting in this room. Do y'all believe that? I believe in an all-loving God. I believe he wants to bless you. When I was little, my mom and dad wanted to bless me. Sometimes they blessed me all over the house. They wanted to protect me, but they could only do it correctly when I listened to them. Isn't that simple to see? I'll never forget when our kids first went off to school. You know, the kids are about to go back to school. By the way, we need to pray for the teachers and school kids going back. Because they're going to be on their own, right? They're not under their parents' watch. Parents love those children, but as they go off to school, if the children don't listen to the parents, guess what? Parents can't protect them. God wants to bless you, but if you don't listen to him, he can't. Isn't that simple? Guys, I believe we have a lot of blessings today that we don't realize. I want to leave you with this thought. I put it as my status the other day, but it's so true. Every day, you can look around and find something to complain about. Our air conditioner ain't working. But let's just get upset about it, right? There's always something to complain about. But there's always blessings of God around as well. I don't know about y'all, but I believe today's service has been a blessing. Amen. I think God wanted us out of there for some reason. Maybe to perk us up. I don't know what. But the point is, we can either dwell on the complaining or your blessing. You know, it's an easy recipe, if you want to call it that, to have peace in your life. Let go. Quit being anxious. Say if the Lord will, and seek that victory through Him in His way. Start looking for the blessings instead of the complaints. Amen. David had a lot to complain about, didn't he? He wasn't on the throne anymore. His son was trying to kill him. But instead of saying all that, he woke up and said, I woke up today because God sustained me. I want to be more like that. I want to be more like David. I want to quit griping about the big things and start praising God with the little things. Amen. Where are you today in your life? Are you chasing after what you want? If you are, I can promise you, you don't have peace in your heart. Do you have peace? Peace belongs to God. Victory belongs to God. He wants to give it to you today. Let's bow our heads for just a moment.